The following program is rated M for a mature audience. It contains coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
Hello and welcome to Hungry Beast. Tonight is all about the fun of play. From Australia's dictator playmates to plush toys having sex, and the game we know is bad for us but can't seem to give up. But first...
The internet is so full of cat memes that many believe it's actually made of cats, or at least by cats. Well, here's more evidence. An American cat food manufacturer has just released a series of iPad games for kitties. The games have supposedly been researched to ensure maximum feline fun, which is brilliant because you bought the scratch-proof iPad, right?
And from cats playing with iPads to humans playing with, well, no one. We've had air guitar, we've had air drums, and now we have competitive air sex. Contestants choose a track and have 2 minutes to perform their oxygenated orgasm routine. The 2011 World Air Sex Champion will be crowned in Texas later this year.
Now, from the moment the Vietnam War was beamed via television into homes all around the world, our experience with the news has changed. And each new technology brings an opportunity to read, watch and feel more. Now you can even interact with the headline story of the day.
There it is, the kill shot that Sky News, CNN, the ABC, Fox and just about every other news outlet wanted to give you but couldn't. Welcome to episode 107 of Kuma War. Kuma War is a shooter game created by New York-based Kuma Reality Games.
After we report it, you play it in single player and multiplayer.
Each instalment recreates a real mission from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, all in video game format. Each episode is constructed from satellite footage, military experts, Department of Defence records and soldiers who were actually there at the real events. The very first episode, 7 years ago, reimagined the operation in which Saddam Hussein's sons were killed. Since then, Kuma has covered everything from the battle for Fallujah to the attacks on Osama bin Laden's cave in Tora Bora. Kuma War is just one of the stars in the world of news games, a hybrid of good old-fashioned journalism and gaming. You can play news games about anything. There's a disturbing one about the genocide in Darfur, and even a completely wanky one about WikiLeaks. However, the most infamous news game was built by a 17-year-old in suburban Colorado in 1999. His name was Danny Ladoni, and the game was Super Columbine Massacre RPG. In response to the shootings at Columbine High School and his own experience of being bullied, Danny Ladoni took as many details as he could from the actual shooting, the look of the gunman, the layout of the school, and folded them into this rudimentary game, which was massively popular and massively controversial.
Games are good at communicating real-world events or experiences because they allow us to experience firsthand what it might have been like to be in that situation.
Lots of people understandably think that this is all in very poor taste, trivialising a tragedy into a plaything. But if you actually play the game, you get a very unusual sensation. You assume the role of the gunman. You're faced with this choice to kill, maim, or not shoot at all. And the fact that it's real makes it a confronting experience.
Games can also get us to think more critically about something in a new way by putting us in that perspective, which is a perspective that we may never otherwise have. And that is precisely the aim of a game like Super Columbine Massacre RPG.
And that's what makes this immersive medium so powerful and a surprisingly good tool for communicating really complex ideas. This is September 12. In this news game, you get to drop bombs on an Afghan village to eliminate the terrorists, something which a lot of people were more than happy to see done in the aftermath of 9/11. However, your actions in the game have consequences. The more you bomb innocent people, the more you inspire them to become terrorists. Probably the most powerful example of what you can say with these games is something called 9/11 Survivor, which puts you in the shoes of a survivor in one of the top floors of the World Trade Center. Your choice? Die in the fires or die jumping out of the building. The designers wanted to get behind the overhyped TV news coverage to give us a direct empathy for these victims, and the result is heartbreaking. From the moment we could watch real wars play out between the crosshairs on TV, that line between news and the language of gaming was blurred. There's no question that some of these experiences put you in an incredibly murky moral territory, and it's not like games are going to replace traditional journalism anytime soon. But things like 9/11 Survivor and Super Columbine RPG give us a chance to not just understand the news, but in some way feel it in a form that no other journalism can ever quite do.
Stuff said. Play.
The Monopoly box was big enough to not only hold the game, but hide everything else they needed to get to POWs. Author Philip Orbanes discussing how secret maps, metal files, compasses and local currency were hidden in games of Monopoly to help Allied POWs escape German camps in World War II.
Sugar tricks bacteria that would otherwise play dead into consuming the antibiotic. Boston University research into sugar-coated antibiotics showing that some bacteria, which had previously hidden themselves from medical attack, have a sweet tooth. Nature, 12th of May, 2011.
No sooner does a team of anonymous American heroes risk their lives in pursuit of a solemn oath of justice than a multinational cartoon corporation seeks to profit from it with shitty tchotchkes. John Cook, editor at Gawker.com, on Disney filing trademark applications for exclusive use of SEAL Team 6 in entertainment and educational services, toys, games and playthings, gymnastics and sporting articles, handheld units for playing electronic games, Christmas stockings, Christmas tree ornaments and decorations, snow globes, clothing, footwear and headwear.
Love old board games? Then get ready for our brand new real-world versions of all your favourite classics, like Guess Who? Terror Suspect.
Does the suspect have a beard? Yes! We got him! Yes!
Operation Elective Surgery.
Don't touch the sides.
You butcher, I'm gonna sue you for malpractice.
And Monopoly Wall Street Edition.
Who wants to be the banker?
Me!
You win! Prepare your kids with our new release of real-world board games. Because the game of life has changed.
I didn't do anything!
Sexting. Teenagers today won't stop sending each other raunchy texts. So much so, the federal government has mounted a campaign to talk them out of it. But is it sending damaging messages in the process?
Last year, the federal government launched a multimedia campaign called Think You Know. Borrowed from the UK, its stated aim is to educate kids and parents about cyber safety, that it's everyone's responsibility. But the video about sexting doesn't quite live up to that aim.
Hey Megan. Nice.
Right, quiet down. Thank you. Emily Abbott.
Yes.
Claire Henderson.
Yeah.
Megan Edgerton. Megan.
The ad makes it very clear that it's a risky idea to send intimate images of yourself to other people because you don't know what they'll do with them. And that point is fair enough. But what other messages is the ad sending? For a start, it shows Megan receiving no fewer than 9 looks of disgust, disappointment and disapproval from her classmates and even from her teacher. Megan is shown humiliated and mortified. Other kids throw taunting notes at her and make lecherous comments.
Nice.
Ultimately causing her to flee the room in tears. But it doesn't question the behaviour of the boy who betrayed her trust by forwarding the message in the first place, and nor does it stop to consider the complicity of those who passed it on or bullied her over it. If cyber safety is, as the campaign claims, about responsibility and respect, then why is all the blame placed on Megan? And why isn't there an emphasis on teaching kids to respect other people's privacy and trust in a digital world? Just because you can forward a photograph to 1,000 other people in an instant with the click of a button doesn't mean that it's okay. Maybe next time we make a cyber safety ad, let's forward the big, enlightening picture, not just the small, embarrassing one.
Meet the poker machine, the game we just can't seem to resist. Australia has 180,000 pokies. That's 21% of the Earth's total. Per capita, we have 5 times as many as the USA. In 2009, we spent $19 billion on gambling, more than twice as much per person as the UK and US. 12 billion of that was fed into slot machines. For every dollar we lose at the racetrack, 5 are eaten by pokies. That's partly because gambling machines are designed for speed. In the time it takes you to play 10 rounds of blackjack at the casino, you could play 65 rounds on a pokey. Your chance of winning a $5,000 prize on a poker machine is 9,765,625 to 1. You've got a better chance of winning the lotto, which has a prize of $1 million, and even better odds of being struck by lightning. In 2008, Gaming Technology Association data revealed the longer you play, the less likely you are to win. But studies show that most users, up to 70%, falsely believe that the machines work in cycles, that patience will land you the prize. Prime Minister John Howard pledged to stop the expansion of gambling in Australia in 1999, but by 2008, the average amount spent by each player had almost doubled. Today, pokies are the most common cause of gambling addiction. One study found that after the illegal drug trade, they're the second highest cause of crime. Pokey addicts commit up to $25 million of fraud a year. Clubs Australia says that while the government has a responsibility to help the 1% of Australians that gamble irresponsibly, this can't be at the expense of the 99% who gamble for entertainment. Of course, that 1% has been very lucrative. The clubs say that problem gamblers generate $800 million of revenue a year. Anti-pokey group Gambling Watch puts the figure closer to $5 billion. Whatever the truth, that's a lot of money. Despite media stereotypes, the typical Australian pokey player is between 18 and 24 years old. Only 12% of Australians believe pokies have had a positive effect on their lives. More than twice that say it's been a negative. The poker machine. A lot of flash, a lot of noise, but not really much good. The game that's sucking Australia dry.
You've played Twister, and you've played Sexy Twister. Now try the all-new Teen Abstinence Twister.
Left foot blue.
All-new Teen Abstinence Twister. Make a long-term commitment to fun.
A few weeks ago we mentioned gaming hacks, ways that console technology can be used for more than just killing time. This week, Nick Hayden decided to find out more.
Once upon a time, most of our cool little gadgets came from a trickle-down effect from the military-industrial complex. Your GPS, mobile phones, even the internet, they all came from military technology. But now, things are starting to change. Take the Xbox Kinect, a gaming console without a control pad. In fact, you're the control pad.
It uses 3D motion tracking to sense your movements, then translates them into actions in the game.
And now tech wizards the world over are finding other, very different uses for the Kinect. So much so that fiddling with it has become something of an internet sport.
The computer science gang at MIT have created a Minority Report style interface using the Kinect 3D sensor and some open source software available to anyone.
The sensor is amazing. I can use the 3D data to detect where my hands are. It's sort of like the multi-touch on your phone, because that one $150 sensor is actually better than tens of thousands of dollars sensors.
And it doesn't stop at Tom Cruise movies. The Kinect has been turned into a virtual piano,
a quadricopter that uses the Kinect sensor to avoid obstacles. And even NASA isn't above hacking a gaming console. It's using the Kinect to enable scientists to share 3D data cheaply and easily by teleconference.
These hacks aren't just cute parlour tricks, they're real-world applications. But what's also interesting is Microsoft's evolving reaction to them.
When the Kinect was launched in November last year, a reward was offered by open source hardware developer Adafruit to anyone who could use its sensor capabilities for something other than gaming. Microsoft condemned the reward and vowed to stop product tampering. But as the projects have started coming to light, Microsoft's resolve has weakened. By February, the backflip was complete. Microsoft announced the release of a Kinect for Windows software development kit. Outside developers will actually be encouraged to explore the possibilities of Kinect technology.
So brilliant minds will find it even easier to use the console to create things for the rest of us. Like this amazing example. A research group from Konstanz Uni in Germany used the Kinect to create a navigational aid for the blind.
There are two parts in the Navi system. One part is the obstacle detection mechanism. So we use the depth camera, and without the Xbox Kinect we couldn't have done it.
And it's not just the Kinect driving innovation. Other gaming consoles are being reappropriated for equally altruistic uses. Researcher Johnny Lee used the infrared sensor on his Wiimote to create an interactive whiteboard. The Wiimote only costs about $40. The hack is free to anyone, and it's now being used in classrooms the world over. The PlayStation 3 is also getting in on the act. In 2003, entrepreneur Mike Ebling met Tony Kwan, aka graffiti legend Tempt. The artist had stopped working because he was struck down with the debilitating Lou Gehrig's disease. Determined to give him the means to make art again, Ebling's team took the infrared camera from a PlayStation and created the Eye Writer, a device which tracks eye movements and translates them into lines on a screen. Now, Tempt is expressing himself again.
All thanks to gaming hardware, utilising the same technology that creates heightened game experiences to change the way we experience reality. Not so much art imitating life, as art improving it.
This is Hungry Beast on Play. Peter Banke has two main passions. One is German literature, the other is plush toy animals. For the past 4 years, he's been running workshops using plush toys to help adults explore their sexuality.
I've always played with plush animals. I used to ask my parents to talk to them and they would invent stories with them. I never left it behind. The animals now have a more public life, whereas they were always in a very intimate, sort of private realm, the bedroom, with people who came into my bedroom. Now it's something that I share with a lot of people. I mean, they go to restaurants, they go to parties. It's a way of saying things or expressing things that can't be expressed otherwise. This is Dorit, the tortoise.
This is the tradesman. This is the polar bear. Very concerned about the environment. Yeah, it's very bad.
When I feel very comfortable with somebody, then it's almost like the animals take over.
Right, ask me a question.
Who are you?
I'm Junior. I am actually the boss of everybody here.
And he's like a labour leader, union leader, activist, old-style Marxist.
We need to mobilise the workers.
But as I've gotten older, the animals kind of develop a sort of a sex life. Recently, Junior, who, of course is homophobic, starts to develop this gay relationship with a bear.
Yeah, how's this compared to hanging out with women?
Well, it's a different kind of relationship. With women, I've got less control.
I mean, I don't identify as a gay man, but obviously it's something to do with my masculinity and my sexuality that I can express when the two of them have sex together. Recently we had this session, this very intense session with these two. And like when Junior's being fucked, a lot of his like repressed stuff comes up. He's vomiting on people and he's, telling people how much he hates them and, and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, he's feeling quite good because he's being fucked. And like at the end of it, I'm feeling like really like exposed, but in a good way.
I like this. It makes me feel very soft and sensual. Can really explore.
I mean, there was one time in my life when I tried very hard to stop doing it, and I became extremely depressed. I stopped doing it because I thought, I'm going to be an adult, I'm going to be a man. I tried to stop doing it for a girl. And then I realised, no, it's much healthier for me just to keep this line constant in my life. Having more of a silent session. Maybe the fact I've never renounced it has to do with maybe something in me that resists a certain kind of masculine role model. Being a man, I think, implies a lot being adult and strong and responsible. When I play with the plush animals, I'm like a little boy. I'm still in a masculine role, I'm still a boy, but I'm sort of in this plush space. I'm not a handyman, I'm very impractical, I'm not very technically proficient. I play with plush animals.
Love playing board games over the holidays? Why not try our all-new Trivial Pursuit Family Friction Edition?
Religion, politics, kids today, your sexual history. Name my last 3 boyfriends.
Oh, I lose track of the names, honey. You go through so many of them.
Oh, that is not true! When are you gonna settle down? Why do you care? Because you're a slut! I hate you!
Trivial Pursuit Family Friction Edition.
If Mummy was to divorce your father, whom would you move in with?
Daddy.
Wrong!
It'll make you cry with laughter. Laughter sold separately.
During the last few months of social unrest across the Middle East and North Africa, Western leaders have been quick to support pro-democracy protesters. On Friday, President Obama told dictators around the world they could no longer count on American support. Sounds good, but do our business and political ties put Australia on the right side of those clashes? Scott Mitchell investigates.
For Egyptians have made it clear that nothing less than genuine democracy will carry the day.
We have acted already with the imposition of autonomous sanctions against Libya.
The future of Egypt is in the hands of the people of Egypt, as it properly should be.
But that hasn't always been our top priority. In fact, most of the time, we've been putting Aussie dollars in the hands of these regimes. Take Libya. This 2005 Australian Trade Commission white paper outlines the plan to increase our trade with the country. By last year, it had, by 2,000%. We went from buying no Libyan oil to $260 million worth a year. We weren't exactly anti-Mubarak either. 6 days after the Egyptian dictator rigged an election in December, Kevin Rudd met him in the presidential palace, saying, "Our commercial relationship is strong. Our political relationship is good." 3 months later, Mubarak had fled in disgrace. While no minister would be caught dead in the same room as Robert Mugabe, there's still plenty of dictators that haven't made the front page yet, and we're still playing ball with them. Let's start with Eritrea. President Isaias Afwerki has ruled the country since 1993. This year, he was ranked as the worst leader in Africa. He's funded Somalian warlords and terrorist group Al-Shabaab, the same group alleged by the Australian Federal Police to be behind a plot to attack Holsworthy Army Barracks in New South Wales. These concerns haven't stopped our mining companies jumping into bed with his regime. 4 Aussie mining companies have projects there. Here they are pictured with the dictatorship's Minister of Mining. They look set to generate hundreds of millions of dollars for the regime. Equatorial Guinea. President Teodoro Obiang has ruled the country for 32 years. Last year, Obiang showed his power by having 4 opposition leaders in exile kidnapped, brought back to the country, tortured and then executed by military tribunal. Foreign Affairs and Trade established diplomatic relations with the regime in 2009, at the same time as Australia's Rock Oil Company was exploring drilling options in the area. Our government followed up by meeting the dictatorship's Director General of Mining in Perth back in September 2010. Here he is with Special Minister of State for the Public Service and Integrity, Gary Gray. Saudi Arabia. King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz has ruled the country since 2005. The country runs on a class of migrants, compared to slaves by Human Rights Watch. When pro-democracy protests broke out this year, the Saudi government warned that security forces would crush dissent. 2 days later, Kevin Rudd issued a statement that he would push for a free trade agreement with Saudi Arabia. Aussie trade and investment there is worth more than $2 billion a year. 2 more days after that, Saudi security forces opened fire on protesters and then marched into Bahrain to crush protests there. Quick to support rebels in Egypt and Libya, Mr. Rudd hasn't issued a statement supporting those protesters yet, though he might have bumped into one when he was there in December, seen here next to the former Minister of Saudi Intelligence. They might be respectable and out of the headlines right now, but when there's protesters in the streets and the Australian government is issuing statements about democracy and human rights, ask yourself, how long has that been more important to us than turning a buck? Oh, and don't even mention China.
Favourite thing to play?
Cowboys and Indians, I'd say.
I suppose my first Meccano set, where I could build things and make things.
We used to get jam tins and cut stars out and throw them at each other and be ninjas, you know, and jump back, pretend we were jumping up.
School teachers with my friends, as long as I was always the teacher. I hate to admit it.
We had this big tree, an old oak tree which had no centre to it, and we used to set up shop in there and we had stones as money.
I would think I was a bossy boots, and I ended up being a teacher.
We used to have a little sort of ding-a-ling-a-ling, the shop was open and people, you know, anyone in the house would come and buy things from us. Leaves and flowers and bits of wood and anything. But that was our shop. It was great. We made a fortune.
Donkey Kong. I had the Donkey Kong game. It was amazing.
Hopscotch.
It just had this little Donkey Kong thing that went dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-boom, dee-dee-dee-dee. It was amazing. I played it for hours and hours and hours.
And my father used to get cranky because he'd wear out our shoes. And of course, in those days, your father mended your shoes.
My gran actually, she confiscated it when I went up to stay with her. She called it the time waster.
Skateboard. Skateboard, 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 skateboard. Yeah. 49-year-old skateboarder.
I used to play this game with my family and it's called Run Away from Caitlin, and that was my name, so all my siblings used to run away from me.
I think it was being able to roll away from a lot of things.
Getting outside and building dams in the gutter and then blow it up with bungers if it's near cracker night, blow the dam up. Really? Fantastic, wonderful.
You actually set fire to a tablecloth?
I did. Filling my little steam engine up with metho and then set fire, not realising it was all over the table.
Lego, Lego was awesome.
I don't remember playing as a child. My parents were very overbearing. I wasn't allowed to have friends home from school. I wasn't allowed to play with certain people in the street. So books was my world. I read prolifically. You know the story of the torch under the bedclothes? I read. I just loved reading. And that was my escape, which is what play is. Isn't it?
$1,000, the price of having yourself kidnapped for your own amusement, offered by US company Extreme Kidnapping. You can be fake kidnapped by a traditional movie-style baddie or by a team of attractive women. Customised scenarios cost extra. The company also offers home invasions and hostage play. $50,000. The cash you have to bring to the table to be considered a high roller at Crown Casino. The high roller rooms at the venue are the only licensed premises in Victoria exempt from anti-smoking laws. $10 to $20 million. The US Army video games budget, which covers licensing and development. Games are used for recruitment, target practice, medical training, and improving language skills.
Well, that's another episode of Hungry Beast, ready to go back in the toy box. As always, you can keep up with us on our website and Facebook and Twitter.
Next week on Hungry Beast, speed. From technological acceleration to the Pacific Island nation threatened by the speed of rising sea levels. Until then, good night.
Good night.
Computers have been around for 60 years, and in that time, they've almost caught up with 200,000 years of human brain evolution. Pretty soon, they could be smarter than us.
While JetConnect is a Kiwi company, we want to let you know we're doing our best to look and smell Aussie as.
With an average elevation less than 2 metres above sea level, and scientific studies predicting sea levels will rise even faster than previously thought, some Tuvaluans already live with their feet in the water.